The hospital corridors were never silent, but at 20:17 a.m., they carried a different kind of tension. The fluorescent lights flickered above the emergency department while monitors beeped. Nurses rushed between rooms, and doctors fought against the clock. Nobody noticed the new nurse standing quietly at the end of the hallway, holding a clipboard with both hands and trying not to draw attention. Her name was Emily Carter, a 28-year-old nurse who had joined the trauma unit only 3 weeks earlier. To most of the staff, she was just another rookie wearing oversized scrubs and trying to survive the pressure of the busiest emergency room in the city. But nobody knew what she had left behind. Nobody knew about the years she spent in places where one mistake meant someone didn't come home, and nobody knew the secret hidden beneath her sleeve. That night, the trauma department received an unusual request. 5 injured Navy SEALs were being transported from a classified training accident. The hospital prepared its best surgeons, experienced nurses, and specialized teams. When the announcement came over the emergency speaker, everyone moved instantly. 5 military casualties arriving in 4 minutes. Possible blast injuries. Prepare trauma bays 1 through 5. The chief surgeon, Dr. Richard Hale, walked through the department with confidence. He was respected, brilliant, and known for his sharp tongue. He looked over the nurses assigned to assist and then stopped when he saw Emily. "You," Emily looked up. "Yes, doctor." Dr. Hale gave a small laugh. "You're assigned to the SEAL team?" As she nodded, the nearby nurses exchanged uncomfortable looks. One of them whispered, "She's been here less than a month." Another replied, "Those men need someone experienced." Emily heard every word but said nothing. Dr. Hale shook his head. "Fine. Give the 5 SEALs to the rookie nurse." His voice carried through the room. A few staff members laughed. "Maybe she can take their temperatures." Someone joked. Emily lowered her eyes and tightened her grip on the clipboard. She had faced worse words than that, much worse. The ambulance doors exploded open moments later. The first SEAL was rushed inside unconscious, his uniform covered in dust and blood. The second had severe burns. The third was barely breathing. The fourth had a damaged leg, and the fifth was holding on to consciousness by pure willpower. The entire ER became chaos. Doctors shouted instructions. Machines were prepared. Everyone moved. Everyone except Emily. For a moment, they thought she had frozen. Dr. Hale turned toward her. "Nurse Carter, are you going to stand there or help?" Emily walked toward the first CL. Then something changed. Her entire expression transformed. The nervous rookie disappeared. In her place was someone calm, focused, and commanding. She checked the injured man's condition in seconds. Airway compromised. Possible internal bleeding. "We need 2 units of O-negative blood now." The doctors stopped. Dr. Hale frowned. "How did you determine that?" Emily didn't answer. She moved to the second patient. His burn pattern suggests the explosion came from his left side. "Protect his right lung. Don't intubate until pressure is stabilized." The anesthesiologist stared at her. "That's not something a new nurse should know." Emily looked at him calmly. "It's something anyone learns when they've watched people die because someone waited too long." The room went quiet. Then alarms started screaming. The 5th SEAL's heart rate dropped dangerously. The team rushed toward him. Dr. Hale immediately began giving orders. "Prepare for emergency surgery." But Emily grabbed his arm. "Wait." The chief surgeon looked shocked. "You're stopping me." Emily pointed at the monitor. "He's not crashing from the injury." Dr. Hale pulled away. "Excuse me." Emily leaned closer to the patient and noticed something hidden beneath his torn gear. A small metal tag. Her eyes widened. The SEAL's eyes opened slightly. He looked at her face and whispered one word. "Phoenix." Emily froze. Nobody in the room understood, but the injured soldier did, because that name wasn't a nickname. It was a legend. Dr. Hale stared at her. "What did he just call you?" Emily slowly stepped back. For 3 weeks, everyone had believed she was just a rookie nurse. But the 5 SEALs lying in front of her knew the truth. And when the unconscious commander suddenly opened his eyes and said, "You're alive, we thought you died," the entire emergency room fell silent. Because nobody knew the nurse they had mocked was once the person who saved the lives of the most dangerous men in the world. The emergency room stood frozen as every person tried to understand what they had just heard. Emily Carter, the quiet rookie nurse everyone ignored, the woman who barely spoke during meetings and apologized whenever someone bumped into her. The woman they laughed at moments earlier. She was someone those 5 SEALs recognized, someone they thought was dead. Dr. Hale looked between Emily and the injured commander on the trauma table. "Phoenix," he repeated. "Who exactly are you?" Emily said nothing. Her eyes remained fixed on the wounded soldier. The commander's breathing was weak, but his voice carried enough strength to reveal the impossible. "You saved us before," he whispered. "You saved all of us." The room became even quieter. One of the younger nurses stepped closer. "What is he talking about?" Emily slowly removed her gloves. For the first time since arriving at the hospital, she stopped pretending. "I wasn't always a nurse." Dr. Hale crossed his arms. Then what were you? Emily looked at the 5 injured men. I was their medic. A wave of disbelief moved through the trauma room. The same people who had mocked her moments earlier now stared at her differently. But Dr. Hale was not convinced. You expect us to believe that a rookie nurse was some kind of military specialist? Emily looked directly at him. No, I expect you to believe the patients in front of you. Before anyone could respond, another alarm erupted. The second SEAL began losing oxygen rapidly. The room snapped back into action. Emily immediately moved. His airway is closing. The swelling is increasing. Dr. Hale hesitated for a second. Then he realized something. Every prediction she made had been correct. Do what you need to do, he ordered. Those 5 words changed everything. For the first time, the chief surgeon trusted her. Emily worked beside the doctors, guiding them through procedures with a confidence nobody expected. She knew exactly how SEALs reacted under extreme trauma because she had stood beside them on battlefields. She knew their fears. She knew their injuries. Most importantly, she knew how to keep them alive. Minutes passed like hours. The first SEAL stabilized, then the second, then the third. But the commander remained critical. His name was Captain Daniel Reeves, and according to the medical records, he should have been dead 2 years earlier. That was the mystery nobody understood. Dr. Hale noticed Emily staring at him. You knew him. Emily nodded. He was my commanding officer. The doctor lowered his voice. Then why did everyone think you died? Emily looked away. Because that was the mission. The room fell silent again. 2 years earlier, Emily had been part of a rescue operation overseas. Her unit had been trapped after an attack. She was the only medic left standing. She stayed behind while her team escaped. The official report said she never made it out. But the truth was different. She survived. Barely. After recovering, she disappeared from military life and became a nurse because she wanted to save people without carrying the weight of war anymore. Until tonight. Until the men she thought she had lost forever came through those doors. Captain Reeves suddenly grabbed her hand. His eyes opened. Why did you leave? Emily fought back tears. Because everyone I saved kept reminding me of everyone I couldn't. The commander looked at her. You saved us all. She shook her head. I lost people. Reeves squeezed her hand weakly. Every soldier loses someone, but heroes aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who keep standing after they do. Those words broke through the wall Emily had built around herself for years. Then another emergency announcement echoed. Security alert. Unknown armed individuals approaching the trauma entrance. Everyone turned. Dr. Hale looked concerned. What now? Emily's expression changed. She recognized the danger immediately. The SEALs were not just injured. They were targets. And whoever was coming through those doors was not there to finish a rescue. They were there to finish a mission. Emily looked at the frightened hospital staff and quietly said the words nobody expected from the nurse they had underestimated. Lock down the emergency department. Dr. Hale stared. How would you know that? Emily reached under her sleeve and revealed the tattoo hidden on her arm. The same symbol the SEALs carried. The symbol of a commander. And suddenly everyone understood. The rookie nurse they had laughed at was not someone who needed protection. She was the person who had protected them all along. The emergency department doors locked seconds before the first explosion shook the building. The lights flickered. Patients screamed. Doctors and nurses froze. But Emily Carter didn't move back. She moved forward. The same woman who had once walked through the hospital halls unnoticed was now standing in the center of the chaos, giving orders with the confidence of someone who had faced impossible situations before. Move all civilians to the inner rooms. Emily commanded. Keep the trauma bays protected. Nobody leaves this area without confirmation. The staff stared at her. Only minutes earlier they had questioned whether she could handle 5 injured soldiers. Now they were following every word. Dr. Hale watched her carefully. There was no fear in her eyes, only experience. Who are these people? He asked. Emily looked toward the sealed entrance. People who know Captain Reeves survived. Another explosion echoed. The hospital shook again. One of the younger nurses whispered, How do you know what to do? Emily looked at her. Because I've been in this position before. The sound of footsteps approached from the hallway. The attackers were getting closer. But they didn't know something important. They thought the SEAL team was helpless. They thought the hospital was just a building full of doctors and wounded soldiers. They didn't know Phoenix was there. Captain Reeves, barely conscious, heard the commotion. He tried to sit up. Emily pushed him down gently. Stay still. He gave a weak smile. You're still giving orders. She looked at him. You're still ignoring them. For the first time that night, the commander smiled. The same connection they had shared years ago was still there. Then the trauma room doors opened. Everyone prepared for the worst. But instead of finding attackers, they found a group of hospital security officers standing there. Behind them was an older man wearing a military uniform. Dr. Hale recognized him immediately. A senior military official. The entire room went silent. The officer walked directly toward Emily. "Commander Carter," breathed. "Commander, not nurse, not rookie. Commander." Emily lowered her eyes. "I'm no longer active." The officer shook his head. "People like you don't stop being who they are." Dr. Hale looked completely stunned. "You are actually a commander." The officer nodded. "She led the rescue operation that saved Captain Reeves and his team. She stayed behind when everyone else escaped." The truth finally came out. The rookie nurse everyone underestimated had once been responsible for saving dozens of soldiers. The people who laughed at her now struggled to understand how they had missed it. Dr. Hale stepped closer. "Why didn't you tell anyone?" Emily looked around the emergency room. "Because I didn't want anyone treating me differently." The surgeon lowered his head. "But we treated you worse because we didn't know." Emily gave a small smile. "Sometimes people only respect what they can see." Captain Reeves slowly opened his eyes again. "But the best people don't need to prove who they are." The words reached everyone. The hospital staff looked at Emily differently now. Not with curiosity, not with doubt, with respect. Over the next several hours, Emily stayed beside the 5 SEALs. She monitored every heartbeat, every breath, every moment. Because despite everything she had accomplished, despite every medal and every mission, she knew the most important thing was simple: keeping people alive. By sunrise, the impossible happened. All 5 SEALs survived. The hospital celebrated. News reporters waited outside. Everyone wanted to know the identity of the mysterious nurse who saved a legendary military team. But Emily refused interviews. She didn't want fame. She didn't want recognition. She only wanted to return to the trauma floor and continue helping people. Before leaving, Captain Reeves stopped her. "You know they're going to remember this night forever." Emily smiled. "They'll remember the SEALs." He shook his head. "No." He looked toward the hospital staff. "They'll remember the nurse who walked into the storm when everyone else stepped away." A month later, Emily was no longer the ignored rookie. She became the nurse everyone trusted, not because of her hidden past, not because of her military title, but because people finally saw what had always been there: courage, compassion, and the strength to stand when everyone else believed she would fall. The 5 SEALs never forgot the night they were saved by the person they thought they had lost forever. And the hospital never forgot the lesson Emily Carter taught them: a person's true value is not measured by the title on their uniform, the opinions of others, or how quietly they walk into a room. Sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones nobody notices until the moment the world needs them most. If this story touched your heart, remember that heroes are not always wearing medals. Sometimes they are wearing simple uniforms, standing beside us every day, waiting for the chance to make a difference. Subscribe for more powerful stories of courage, sacrifice, and the hidden heroes who change lives when it matters most.